welcome back to another Artifact Corner. Today we will be looking at a very interesting piece. This is a true love note. It's actually a valentine that was created to look similar to the currency of the time. The note states on the bottom, "I promise to pay to blank on acceptance the sincere homage and never-failing devotion of an affectionate heart." It also states that this note is secured by the pledge of the whole stock of truth, honor, and fidelity. These notes were popular in the early Victorian period, primarily in the 1840s and 50s. We know that Fannie Delord Webb Hall and Frank Hall were married in 1856, so maybe it was an exchange between them, or maybe it was a wedding gift. Let's learn a bit more about true love valentines and Victorian courtship. Early Victorians were moving into a new era and thought of themselves as breaking with old traditions. Most marriages throughout history were done to benefit the respective families, and not for romantic attachment. This is not to say that Victorians exclusively married for love, but the ideal was now prioritized. One of the results of this was the use of Valentine's Day cards. Here is a quote from the Victoria and Albert Museum. "The valentine industry grew throughout the 1800s, and up to 60,000 cards were sent in 1836. This greatly increased with the advent of the penny post in 1840, and by 1886, so many cards were being sent that the post office had to issue a notice asking people to post them as early as possible to avoid overloading the system. The cheaper post also led to an increase in the market for mass-produced printed cards." Victorian courtships tended to be a bit rushed, but engagements could last for years. What was a Victorian courtship and engagement actually like? Here's a quote from the Delord Museum. "During the engagement, couples exchanged gifts. Though the gifts varied widely depending on class and status, three types of gifts were fairly universal. People commonly exchanged engagement rings. They also often traded pictures of each other or had their photograph taken together. Lastly, couples often exchanged locks of hair. This was a gift that involved no expense and was a sure sign of intimacy. More often than gifts, however, couples wrote each other letters. As they were sometimes separated for long periods of time during their engagements, because of work and familial obligations, letters were the main source of communication. Many relationships developed in large part through the written word." Our Victorian love note is in good condition, despite being more than 150 years old. Since it hasn't been addressed to anyone in particular, its intended recipient will remain a mystery to us. It is a fascinating glimpse into Victorian courtship, and we are so lucky to have it in our collections. Thanks so much for stopping by. Love is love. Happy Pride, y'all.